So I was looking at the volume. Actually, there's yeah.
Oh,
That's,
Jesus,
yeah,
no.
that's
No. Okay. It's going to zero.
Hey guys, Krisha here. Please be cautious of any fake comments and emails you may receive from people pretending to be Mango Research. Sean and I will never, ever contact you for investment opportunities or anything of that sort. To get in touch with the real Mango team, make sure to join our official Discord chat using the link in the description below. Stay safe out there, and remember, do it Mango. And what's up, you guys? Welcome to the Mango Grove. My name is Krisha, and this is today's Bitcoin and Chainlink analysis video. Yes, indeed. Also, a very, very happy Sunday to each and every one of you. I have Sean with me today. Sean, say hi.
Good morning, everyone, and a happy Sunday indeed.
Yes, sirree. So, as you can see, guys, the technicals, they're looking a bit weak. However, we have things on the charts, okay? So on a technical standpoint, as well as on a fundamental standpoint, to suggest that the bulls may be around the corner. Okay,
very interesting.
Yes. So we'll be talking about this today, okay? But in addition to that, we'll also be jumping on over to Chainlink. And why Chainlink? Because Chainlink won the popular vote. So don't hesitate to pause the video, get down to the comments section, and tell us which altcoin you want us to cover. The popular vote wins. Alrighty, and when you're scrolling back up to play the video again, make sure to hit that little like button and even the subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed. That allows us to know whether or not you guys are enjoying this content. Cool beans. Sean, I think we should start off with the fundamental side of things that, could be suggesting that the bulls may be on the sidelines. Now, guys, heads up, I too am going to be learning with you on this one. But this chart is essentially talking about illiquid supply change, wherein the green bars here is the increasing illiquid supply of Bitcoin, and the red is the decreasing illiquid supply of Bitcoin. Now, the question here is, what the hell is illiquid supply, Sean?
Now, what this is essentially measuring is the cumulative outflows and inflows over a entity's lifespan. Now, to put that simply, essentially what it's doing is it's trying to calculate how liquid a particular entity really is. Okay, and now aggregating it across all the entities on the Bitcoin network.
Okay.
Now, what do I mean by that? What does it mean to be liquid as an entity, right? Let's say, for example, me. Let's say I am an entity. Well, essentially, it's going to calculate how liquid I am by keeping track of how often I am buying my Bitcoin, selling my Bitcoin, buying my Bitcoin, basically outflows and inflows. Remember what I said? Cumulative outflows and inflows over a entity's lifespan. So the more often I essentially buy and sell, right? Sending Bitcoin to the exchange, taking it back, the more it's going to consider me more liquid. So there's a factor rating in the way it's calculated from 0 to 1.
Right.
If it goes all the way to 1, it means I'm extremely liquid. I'm a very liquid entity where I'm selling Bitcoin often. If I'm all the way at the 0 mark, it means that I'm a hoarder, right? I'm essentially holding Bitcoin. I'm a hodler. I'm looking to buy Bitcoin. When I do buy Bitcoin, right, I look to buy it for the long term.
Right.
So there's a range between 0 to 1. And this is where there are nuances to it that I'm not going to get into, but this is where it gets really interesting. If an entity sells all his Bitcoin, right, fundamentally, he's a very liquid entity, right, because he sold all his Bitcoin, but he's not calculated anymore in this calculation, which is why when people sell all their Bitcoin, you'll start seeing the number of, so essentially, guys, the red over here is indicating the amount of liquid, right? So while we go down, it means people are going from illiquid to liquid, right?
Right.
So you're seeing this slope start going up and up and up towards the upside. Why? Because people are selling all their Bitcoin, and the amount of people selling all their Bitcoin is reducing, right? And well, they're selling to who? They're selling to people who are long-term hodlers.
Okay.
So this is suggesting, and guys, I do want to specify, okay? I do want to emphasize the word suggesting, okay? Remember, there's nuances to all of this, and this could be interpreted in many, many ways, which is why we like to use all of this holistically, right? All our indicators, everything, our price action, our support and resistance, our momentum, everything in conjunction to get the whole story and then get a bias thesis. Now, this to me, along with everything else, everything on the chart is suggesting, like you said, Krisha, that the bulls may be around the corner because, again, the amount of illiquid supply is increasing.
Right.
Which essentially means the liquid supply of Bitcoin is decreasing. And we should give a shout out to William Clemente. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, bud. Another big spike in illiquid supply today, he says. 3 days in a row now. This trend has been reversing for the last month. This is suggesting accumulation, right? And where do we usually accumulate after a violent move towards the downside,
right,
and within a range. So with that, Krisha, do you want to go on over to the charts?
Yes, let's go on over to the technicals because there's a few interesting things happening here. Sean, I think we're going to start off with a weekly, and then I believe you're closing a 2-week as well.
Yes,
correct, tomorrow. So think about that, guys. We're closing a 2-week candle tomorrow as well as a weekly,
and a 4-day the day after.
Oh, and there we go. So we'll be going over these 3 time frames. Let's start off with a weekly. I think it's we're going to keep this very simple. You guys pretty much have our levels here. I'm looking at the Kijun predominantly, okay? And then, Sean, you tell me what you are looking at. I'm looking to see if price could hold a Kijun coming in at around that $35,600 region. And in addition to that, I think the major support, if you were just looking at support and resistance based on price action, would be this region right here, coming in at 32,161, right? But hey, if the bulls can hold a Kijun, I feel like while it may not be particularly bullish, it's not going to be particularly bearish at that too. I would still believe that Bitcoin is very much in its range.
Yeah.
However, if we break below the Kijun, I'm looking at perhaps another move to the downside.
A retest, you mean?
Yeah, another retest of 32,000. What are your thoughts?
Essentially, the range is large, right? We are beginning to taper on the range because we do have these 2 lows that the bulls are going to be looking to defend. So we could start saying that, hey, the 21 EMA is tapering from the upside, right? Like this. Adjust that a tad bit, and we have these guys. Okay, now again, this is drawn crossly, but just as a visual picture, you are seeing a potential consolidation, accumulation, or it could be redistribution that breaks towards the downside. Remember, we're trying to form our bias while we go through our analysis.
Right.
This picture over here is simply telling us very little, to be honest. We do have 2 high lows, right? And we have a high as well, though. So we can angle this alone to a bullish bias.
Right.
Okay. Right. Slightly, but honestly, not by much. But again, let's combine that with everything else that we are looking at. Let's take a look at the dynamic, Krisha, right over here.
Go ahead, pull it up.
And the dynamic is again telling us that while we did take back the dynamic over here, remember the dynamic did not switch green over here, right? We did not switch green, and right away, without that confirmation, that lack of confirmation was validated on the next candle by not seeing that follow through.
Yeah.
Right. So, Krisha, I think that's pretty much it for the weekly. I don't want to spend too much time.
Yeah, it's still very much
I want to come back to the weekly.
Yeah.
I want to come back to the weekly in a bit, but I think we should look at the 4-day now.
Let's go ahead. Pull it up.
Okay. All right, and here we have the 4-day, and well, the 4-day is pretty much doing what we have expected it to do over the past like 10 days now, right? Ever since it broke into the dynamic range over here, we were expecting it to range within it, put in that consolidation formation before making its next move, right? Guys, I did do a video around 10 days ago where I talked about a potential relief rally that everybody was talking about at the time. Now people have seem to have forgotten about that idea and that thesis, but at the time I talked about how this is going to take multiple 4-day candles, right? We use this region over here as an example of how we consolidated, right, over multiple 4-day candles, and it looks like oh, this didn't take too long, but again, people got shook out just by not being patient enough. That was 36 days. I think we're drawing in on the same number now. Let's say around 28 days, so somewhere around here, perhaps the next two 4-day candles, we could maybe see a break that's lining up with this symmetrical triangle that we've drawn on the weekly too, Krisha.
Yeah.
So again, though, we are simply ranging, literally simply ranging. We came and wicked off the bottom of the 4-day dynamic, wicked off the top of the 4-day dynamic, and all you guys had to do ever since I posted that video was trade the 4-day dynamic from one end of the range to the other end of the range. Right, just had to keep doing that, and you had really nice trades, especially when you combine it with your mid time frames. So that's what the 4-day dynamic is telling me. We want to take a look at the 4-day Ichimoku.
Sure. What I really like about the 4-day dynamic, though, is that it's pretty much giving you a range, right?
Yeah,
I know people don't want to hear that. People want to know, okay, is there going to be some meat left? Yeah, is there going to be a huge move incoming? And guys, it's, the markets don't usually move that way. Like this one right now, the market that we are currently in is a range traders market. Okay, either someone who's playing the ranges or someone who's willing to scalp it. And by the way, both of which require experience. And there's like a lot of trade management that goes into it. Yeah. Like you're gonna have to be glued. So
this is I wouldn't say glued, especially if you're playing the 4-day, right?
The scalpers will have to sort of there's a lot of trade management.
Exactly. The thing is, in these sort of environments, it's the traders that come out way ahead, and it's the people only looking to gamble that really get chopped up and hurt in the markets, right? You touched on something, Kusha, that is really important, and I want to emphasize. The indicator is telling you, right? Your technical analysis is telling you that we are ranging. Everything is indicating we are within a range, but people are trying to get out of the charts what they want out of the charts.
Yes.
Okay, guys, don't try to do that. You got to take out of the market what the market wants to do.
Yeah.
Remember, we are just along for the ride. And when the market's telling you that, hey, we are stopped at the station now, we're taking a break and we're going to range at the station, well, you range with the train, right? You don't try to get in front of the train and try to push it down, or you try to get at the back of the train and try to push it up. You don't do any of that, because you're just going to get run over by the train when it does start. So just do what the market's doing and you will be a successful trader. And the market is giving you an indication at all times as to what it wants to do. At the moment, it's telling us, hey, we are ranging until we break out of the range. And when we do break out of the range, there will be the next big trade that you guys can have.
So patience is going to be key here.
Yeah. Now on that note, right, let's say you're playing the monthly like we talked about. Well, you could, okay, again, I shouldn't be getting into this, but you could say, hey, you know what, at this point, I'm looking at the monthly possibly at a high low position. I don't know if it is or not, but this could be it, because hey, it's dynamic support, tempo still bullish. Now I'm looking at the 4-day and I'm seeing 4-day at the bottom of its range. Maybe I could hunt for this being the final time we test the bottom of the range before we break towards the upside, because we have consolidated for a good amount of time now. Maybe 2 more 4-day candles may lead into the monthly pulling through with its higher low, right? Yeah. Because remember, we're on the 20th of the month now. 2 4-day candles lines up with what, guys? The 28th of the month. The next 4-day candle right after that, well, that's your third 4-day candle lining up with the 36 days that the last consolidation lined up with would be the next month. So the next month starts taking out the high over here. Well, that would be your higher low on the monthly time frame. Bulls are going to be entering the market. Now, again, this is not financial advice, but you guys got to be thinking 10 steps ahead of every other amateur in the market. All right, anyways, apologies for that. So yeah, Kusha, that's what I'm looking at on the 4-day dynamic. Okay, so essentially the story over here, okay, shaping up to this question. Are we in an accumulation range? Are we in a distribution range? We are definitely ranging. Is this the high low that the monthly wants to be putting in that we talked about yesterday as well, right? Remember, monthly, right over here, if it's a high low, it's going to be great.
Right.
If it's not, it's going to be the complete opposite, right? So that's the big question over here. Now, there's something else I talked about in that video 10 days ago, okay? And I told you guys it's going to take time to play out. So, and again, it's still going to take some time, but not as much time. We're seeing the pieces come together, and I'm going to turn on the oscillators now. It's been a while since I showed this to you guys, but again, it's the same theory, guys, same thing. I'm going to hide the horizontals. And we talked about how the 4-day oscillators have pretty much bottomed over here, come as low as they usually go before, okay, there's a high probability of us seeing a bounce at the very least, not a full-on reversal guaranteed, but a bounce at the very least towards the upside. So let's go ahead, Krisha, and I'm just going to hide the RSI for a bit, and let's take a look at the last few times that the 4-day stochastics actually came down this low. And right over here, of course, is one, and the last time was, well, what do you know, the COVID dump, right? And that actually ended up being the bottom. We had a really nice bounce before further continuation. So that's one. Let's go ahead and find the next one right over here. Again, ended up being accumulation before further move towards the upside. Over here, got really down there, ended up having the big China pump, okay, but did not see continuation, but we did see the bounce, right? We did see the bounce. This would line up with the relief rally theory, right? So why not, right? Why not see a bounce, put in a lower high over here, and then come down before testing 25,000? So everyone's right that way, but they got their timing wrong. People calling 25K ended up being right. People calling a bounce ended up being right. But everyone loses money either way, right? That situation happens far more than you guys would think. Let's find another situation. Well, right over here, guys. And that ended up being the $3,000 bottom in 2018, 2019, right? Well, before that, right over here. Boom. This is what probability is. This is where you use probability in your favor, guys. You're seeing that the chances of the 4-day stochastics lining up with an accumulation range, right, or a profit-taking range for the short traders,
right,
is very high, right? And apologies, and we're seeing that also line up with what? Well, our illiquid supply chart right over here that we were talking about in the beginning of the video, right, indicating that the liquid supply is selling, but it's going into the hands of the illiquid supply. And remember, guys, the illiquid supply are the hodlers, right? The illiquid supply is the measurement of the people who tend to be long-term accumulators, long-term hoarders of Bitcoin, and are looking to trade Bitcoin for the long term. And hey, why not, right? When Bitcoin dumps around, I believe it was 50% we jumped, it's usually in the long term a very good buy, regardless of whether we see further downside or not, right? So these long-term hodlers are thinking, you know what, even if it dumps further from here, I don't care, man, this is a good buy. In the long term, I'm going to be fine. And I do believe that. In fact, a good statistic that some of you may already be aware of is that no one has ever bought Bitcoin, held it for at least 4 years, and has ended up being in a loss. Right? No one has ever ended up being in a loss.
Which makes sense if you sort of look at the chart.
Yeah.
Right?
Even if you bought Bitcoin at the top of the 20,000 rally.
Yeah, you're up. Yeah. You're up already.
As Bitcoin makes the stupidest of buyers end up being smart, right? That's the power of Bitcoin. So yeah, that's the 4-day, guys. Now I want to show you the weekly, right? And the weekly as well, guys. Again, these stochastics have come all the way to the bottom while price has just gone sideways. That's bullish.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an indication of, hey, the sellers are definitely losing momentum, but they haven't done anything in the past month, right? And again, last few times that we've come down this low has lined up with rallies towards the upside. And coincidentally, Kusha, they have lined up with when the 4-day eventually has gotten its cross. Because remember, when we first got down over here, we hadn't gotten that bullish cross yet. Well, now we got the bullish cross. It's angling towards the upside. As soon as we start seeing this widen up as well, right, the blue widen away from the red, well, we have momentum now increasing towards the bull's favor. Well, so far the picture is lining up with your story, Kusha, that the bulls may be around the corner.
Sidelines. So yeah, okay. This is how we usually. This is a good way to sort of do your analysis, wherein you get a good holistic view on what the chart is really telling you, right? So Sean pulled up the illiquid part of Bitcoin, as well as Stokes and price action, right? We're looking at the support and resistance, we're looking at the squeeze zone that we're in, and we're looking at the Stokes and the probabilities associated with it. And that's how you can form a picture around not just Bitcoin, but any chart out there. Okay, so this is a lesson in here. Now, Sean, are you ready to get on over to Chainlink?
Let's do it.
Okay, perfect. Now here we have Chainlink. Now remember, guys, if you want us to cover any altcoin that you are looking at, make sure to get down to the comments section and tell us which altcoin you want us to cover for tomorrow's video. Okay, the popular vote wins. And when you're scrolling back up, if you haven't already hit that like button, go ahead and smash the likes, because that helps us know whether or not you guys are enjoying this kind of content. Alrighty, now let's get into the meat of Chainlink. Now I'm just gonna be honest here, I did do some preliminary analysis on Chainlink, and I don't know, Sean, weekly I believe is looking weak, but we're very close to support right now.
So
Right,
we're
so
seeing
I'm looking
support
at,
I see it. Okay.
right? Do you so I'm looking at this as the region of support. Allow me to just mark it out with a horizontal. There you go. Oh, there's already lines there. Very nice. Okay, yeah, so it's pretty much coming in at around that $19.50 region, right? I believe that if Chainlink actually breaks down past $19.50, the first region of contention is only going to come in at $14.53, going all the way down to this region at $9.
Ooh.
So, and it's not going to be an ordinary move. At least I don't think so. It's going to be pretty intense from
25%.
yeah, that's a good 25%.
So that's essentially a 25% wick over there. Eh?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
ridiculous.
And that's how volatile these charts can get, right? So that's the thing. People like the upside of all of these altcoins, but they're not willing. It's not that they're not willing. They're not prepared
For the downside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very important to prepare it. That way, you know what to expect. Setting your expectations is everything in markets like this as well.
Exactly. So think about it, guys. If you had people think that 10x leverage, not much at all, 5x leverage, not much at all. Well, anywhere in between that, and you are getting liquidated on this wick just alone, right? So if you try to be too smart and try to buy this horizontal support over here and over leverage, let's say, hey, I'm going to 10x this retest of this consolidation area over here, well, you got liquidated on this wick. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, so any weekly close underneath the $19.50 region, I think that Chainlink will be propelled into further bearish territory. How about
You're right though, Krisha. I'm not liking the look of this at all. It looks like we're rejecting off this support right over here. I cleared off the chart just to highlight how.
That's fine.
And yeah, it's not looking good at all. You said Ichimoku?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's not a good pitch at all. Rejection of the Tenkin, close underneath the 21 EMA and the Kijun. Rejection of the Tenkin again, another attempt, lower high, close underneath the 21 EMA and the Kijun. Next time, did not even try, just sold into it. And the good news is that we are holding that horizontal, but as soon as we do lose that horizontal, like you mentioned, Krisha, I'd be looking for, again, like you mentioned, this wick to be retested at around 14, lose that to perhaps $9, perhaps will line up. So guys, if you see Bitcoin breaking the regions we mentioned at around $32,000, look for Chainlink to perhaps get a wick down to $9, right? If you guys are long-term Chainlink hodlers, Chainlink bulls, and looking for a long-term opportunity, but be careful, again, be careful. Don't 10x leverage it, right? If you're long-term hodling it, you should not have leverage on your altcoins.
Yes.
Altcoins are volatile enough to get in your bids with zero leverage and have great gains, right? There's no reason, like when a wick is 25%, guys, you're just being greedy. Okay, so yeah, this lines up the bear flag, right?
I'm looking at I was looking at the volume, actually. There's yeah.
Oh,
That's,
Jesus,
yeah,
no.
that's,
no. Okay. It's going to zero.
But no, there is an inverted bearish cup and handle there. The volume lines up too. We have good volume to support that. Yeah, watch out for how price. I want to mark the bottom of the range, Sean. So just go ahead. Let's go back on over to the weekly. I like the weekly level right now because we're so close to it.
It's so clean too.
Right, it's too clean. Like you don't even have to go down to any of the lower levels because the critical one that everyone should be looking at, if you are holding Chainlink, the critical level you need to be looking at is this $19.50. Okay, that is the critical level. We're very, very close. If price closes underneath that in tomorrow's close, further down we go.
Mm-hmm.
I think the bears take over even more. And if there has to be upside on this, then watch out for how price reacts off the weekly 21 and Kijun. Of course, we could get signs on the lower time frames before that, but this is going to be very critical because I want you to notice what happened here. Sean, 4 weeks now.
Yeah.
4 weeks, Chainlink has been trying
to break over,
desperately trying to break over that, and it's been failing on every move to the upside.
Yep. So when it does get over there, that's good edge, right?
Yes.
If you want additional confirmation, just wait for it to break over the Tenkin.
Right, and that's coming in at $28.19 for the Kijun and the 21 EMA. Tenkin comes in at $34.26. But yeah, I mean, keep it very simple for yourself, and the simplest picture you're gonna get is on the weekly time frame, on those macro time frames, and especially now because a lot of the charts are sitting on macro support.
Even as a range trader, right, your edge now is reducing because each time we bounce between these ranges over here, this horizontal and the Tenkin, the bulls are pushing the price lower and lower, right? So it's essentially seeing lower highs, which will be very, very clear when we look at the lower time frames. You can go ahead and take a look right now, Krisha. And again, this is like your perfect descending triangle, right? Well, there could be an argument here, right? Are you seeing that?
Yeah. It's very clean though.
So this may line up. Okay, so let's say the bull thesis of Bitcoin plays through, right?
Right.
And we do see accumulation, and over the next few days, maybe we do see Bitcoin start trending up. I don't use the word trending, but start moving towards the upside off its bottom of its range.
Right.
Well, this could line up with Chainlink also bouncing off its bottom range, right? And this falling channel onto support. So remember, guys, this is a falling channel on the daily time frame onto higher time frame weekly support, right? And this is daily. Right, so we have a daily downtrend, falling channel onto support, and we're putting in a rounding formation over here where we're holding these lows. So now we could be looking for a move like this, or the bulls would be looking for a move like this at the very least, breaking towards the downside, testing these wicks over here. Kusha, thoughts?
No, I agree. This could, if that is contingent on Bitcoin also moving to the upside and those the probability play on the oscillators actually playing out. That could send many of the altcoins actually propelling to the upside as well. I think if Chainlink actually manages to look at how well it's been performing along the daily 21 EMA and the daily Tenkin, we start taking out and living over that Tenkin, I'm saying that's going to be a nice clean C-span trade to be had, all the way up to the Kishin, which comes in at $34.26.
And lines up the Kumo twist as well.
But ultimately, guys, Bitcoin is going to dictate what happens to the altcoins. Bitcoin moving to the upside is good for the altcoins. I always say this. I'm going to stick to it. Bitcoin moving to the upside, Bitcoin being bullish is also going to be bullish for the altcoins. So, that's all I have for Chainlink. What about you, Sean?
Nope. I think we covered all of it, or most of it at the very least.
Brilliant. So are we going to be getting on over to our Sunday shenanigans?
Yes, we are.
Perfect. Now with this, guys, I hope you guys have an excellent weekend moving forward. And trade safely, trade stress-free, trade the mango way, trade the easy way. Ciao.
Ciao, guys.